Well, for all those who are wondering, yeah, this movie's good. What am I talking about? What everyone else is going to be talking about for the next week. Solo, a Star Wars story. Solo, a Star Wars story is a backstory, a prequel, a telling of Han Solo's adventures on how he became Han Solo before we meet him in A New Hope, a story no one wanted and a lot of people wanted to see this movie crash and burn, and it almost did. There's no need to go into all the production problems this movie had or anything else like that. This movie is directed by Ron Howard. He's the director who picked up after the first one got fired, had to do massive reshoots, re-editing, kind of almost write the whole movie again. And this movie is really fun. This is a fun movie. I've seen some reviews because reviews started coming in over the last week, and it's gotten mixed reviews. And while I do think if you're a Star Wars fan, you will like this a lot more than I did, because it is very fan servicey. If you're not a fan, I don't think you'll like it as much, but let's run through the story. We meet young Han on a not a slave planet, but like a slum planet where everyone follows one person, and then we go through his growth into the Solo character, figuratively and literally, in this movie. Once again, this is a spoiler-free review. I will actually be doing a spoiler review this weekend when Jeff goes and sees it with me. So we have that to look forward to this weekend. This movie is starring Alden Ehrenreich, and he did a really good job of making Han Solo his own character in this movie. He was very charismatic. He was this preening, posturing, blowhard kind of, who always had a plan, and they didn't always work. This is how he became the smuggler, how his growing up in his life, and all he needed to do was survive. And Ehrenreich, I'm butchering his name, was really good though as Han, I have to say. I think he was the most charismatic person in this movie. I know I will get a lot of people who say they thought it was Donald Glover, but I don't think he was. But also, this was Han's movie, so maybe that's why he got to be more charismatic. So yeah, we see how he gets his gun, how he meets Chewie, how he gets the Millennium Falcon, the person who kind of trains him to be who he is. So, but the cast was really good except one person, Emilia Clarke. I had huge issues with her. I've never seen Game of Thrones, first of all, so I don't know her work from there. But I hated her performance in Terminator Genesis. And in this movie, she kind of gave the same performance. Like, she just had this dull, dry look on her face. But I do have to admit, at least in this movie, it didn't really give her much to do. And that possibly could have been for the best, because she was by far the weakest link. Woody Harrelson is really good in this movie as the person who kind of teaches Han how to be a scoundrel. I thought he was really good. His character is Tobias Beckett, and I thought he was really good. Donald Glover as Lando nailed it. He really felt, the first time you see him playing poker, I really thought that could have been a younger Billy D. Williams. Believe me, by saying, it's not saying anything that I favored Han's character over Lando. This is Han's movie, I'll tell you that. So, but I did think he had more charisma, but then again, the movie was focused on him. I really liked the way Ehrenreich and Glover played off of each other. It was really this like buddy I don't like you, but I'm gonna pretend to like you because I'm gonna con you, even though I think you're gonna be conning me back. They had that type of relationship going. It's like, oh, you know, we can smile face to face, but I know you're gonna try to cheat me, but so I'm gonna try to cheat you before you can cheat me. One of those relationships, and it was played off really well. Chewbacca, I love the way him and Han meet and their friendship together. They really played it off well, and I'm so glad that their relationship came off very well, because this is, you know, it was very important to the story. This movie had a couple of really fun action scenes. There's a train robbery, there's a getaway scene at the beginning that plays off really well. The stuff with the Kessel Run actually played off really well. There was a part there's a fight in a mine where I didn't have as much fun with it because I felt my screen was too dark. I might change my opinion when I see it again this Saturday, but I didn't understand a lot of the action beats there because either my screen was too dark or the movie was shot so dimly I couldn't make out a lot of the stuff that was going on. But that's minor quibbles. Yeah, all I can say is Emilia Clarke wasn't really good. This movie's really fan servicey, like really. And my crowd was eating it up, and I don't think that was a good thing. Anytime something appeared that they recognized from before, people in the crowd would start hooting and hollering, and it was kind of annoying. There was at one point a child crying at the beginning of the movie, which is annoying, but you know, that's about the fans. That wasn't about the movie. The movie also had a really weird fixation with Han's dice. I know that was a big thing in Last Jedi, but to think that all of a sudden Han's dice has become the second biggest item in the Star Wars universe behind lightsabers is kind of weird. I think it's past Death Stars and Death Stars ripoffs at this point, or at least that's how it feels going forward. There is a surprise appearance at the end by a character, I'm not going to say who it is, that really confused me about when is this movie taking place. But to my knowledge, to get the reference, you had to have been watching or why it happens, you had to have been watching the Clone Wars and Rebels. That's all I'm going to say about that. But that kind of left me scratching my head. While I did enjoy the movie, the ending left it open for a sequel. And while I would see it because this movie was good, and once again, I didn't really want it, I don't know if we need a sequel of this movie. Or maybe it'll lead into another one-off story. I don't know. But this movie is really strong. I can see a lot of Star Wars fans having problems with the way Han is portrayed in this movie, because he kind of is portrayed not as a rapscallion, as a good-intentioned person who does bad stuff so he can survive. And I can predict a lot of people are going to have issues with that. But other than that, this is a really strong movie. It's not as good as Rogue One. I liked Rogue One better. Once you figured out who the characters were in Rogue One, even though I couldn't tell you anyone's name in the movie, the movie took off. And the last act was probably one of the best last acts of any Star Wars movie. There was a character, and there was a robot in this in Solo though, a robot that felt completely out of place in this movie. I didn't understand the story they were trying to tell with it, especially with such a secondary character. When you had Lando, you had Han, you had Chewie, you had Emilia Clarke's character, you had Woody Harrelson's character, and then you have this like robot that was trying to do a rebellion, but it was kind of empty and hollow, and it didn't need there, and a lot of her jokes, because it is a woman, didn't really land, or it felt out of place. So that didn't work for me. But like I said, Ehrenreich, however you pronounce his name, was really good. Lando was really good. Chewbacca was really good. The movie was fun. The action beats were really good when they were. Even the last action beat was really cool. If you can go along with how they portray Han, I think you can have a lot of fun with this movie. I had a lot of fun. I can't wait to see it again in 4DX on Saturday with Jeff. So I saw an advanced screening, so I got a poster, I got a pair of dice, and I got a button, and I got a free medium popcorn. So I am a happy camper. I give Han a 7.8. I recommend it. If you're a Star Wars fan, you'll probably get a lot more out of it than I did. Since I saw an early screening and I'm posting this review now, did you see Solo today? Do you plan on seeing it this weekend? Because we have a 3-day weekend with Memorial Day on Monday. Do you plan on seeing it this weekend? Do you agree with me? Do you have any comments? Please post them below. Let me know. As always, like, subscribe, and I will be doing actually a couple of more spoiler reviews coming up tomorrow. I'm going to have a very odd spoiler review. I usually don't do spoiler reviews for smaller movies, but this movie deserves it. Tomorrow me and Jeff will be doing a spoiler review of Tully, so come back for that. That's all I have to say. Solo, go out and watch it. Until next time. You scruffy-haired nerf herder.